Our next park that we'll be reviewing from my European coaster tour is Holiday Park. Most of you guys probably know this because they are home to the legendary Expedition G-Force. It is an incredible Intamin mega coaster. I've already done a review for that, so be sure to go watch it. Now, the first thing you need to know is that this park is not super big. They have Expedition G-Force, Skyscream, which is a premier ride Skyrocket 2. There's a Starflyer, Drop Tower, Gerstlauer Sky Roller, and some family rides. And that's pretty much it. I would say Holiday Park was one of the few parks that I went to in Europe that most closely resembled an American amusement park. I would say like this and Thorpe Park. Thorpe Park feeling mostly like an American park. This one felt American in that there was very light theming. The only real theming you see in the park is in that kind of entry plaza, and there's some in Skyscream's queue. Which, interesting note about Skyscream, they actually will have some scare actors in the queue at various moments, and when they do, they put an age limit on there saying you have to be at least 14 to go and ride this thing because of the scare actors. But when there aren't scare actors in it, they don't enforce it so anyone can ride. There weren't any scare actors when we went in, so it wasn't a problem. I don't know how often there are in there, but I think that 14 age limit kind of was a turnoff, so I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do it anymore. But kind of getting back to the theming, most parks that we went to in Europe were very elaborately themed, and that isn't really the case with Holiday Park. Like, to give you an idea of how casual they are, for Expedition G-Force, the ride is sponsored by Big FM, which is a radio station, and so they just play pop music in the queue. That's a very American thing to do. They also do run one train here on their rides, and it wasn't really that big of a deal because lines were very light. But actually, one of the things that I thought was really cool about Holiday Park is how they paid tribute to their old Aero coaster. When they removed it, they kept this corkscrew that goes over the pathway. And so to this day, when you're walking a Skyscream, you'll walk under part of this Aero coaster. It's really cool. One more thing kind of roller coaster related is they don't staple here. So you will be able to get like airtime on Expedition G-Force. And the associates that we met were very nice. Everyone that we talked to that worked at Holiday Park was very kind and treated us very well. And to show you how nice they were, we got the last ride of the day on Expedition G-Force, and then they sent us around again. Normally at an American amusement park, if you clap one more time, they just kind of ignore you and they're like, bye. Here, if you do it, they actually send you around again. So that was really hype, and that was a great way to end out the day. So we were definitely impressed with all the staff and management here. But I just want to kind of give you an idea of what it's like to visit Holiday Park, because it kind of has a similar vibe to Trips Drill, where part of it you don't even feel like you're in a theme park because there's so many trees here. It's so heavily wooded. Then let's say you're walking from Expedition G-Force to Skyscream. You're just walking among trees, and there's some points where you won't like see any rides or anything. It's just a wooded pathway. So at times Holiday Park felt like it was in a forest. So I definitely liked the amount of trees here, but I will say there wasn't like a ton of landscaping or anything. Nothing like Trips Drill, which we had just visited earlier that day. So I would say that this park wasn't really one that was focused on looks as much as some of the other parks. The park looked presentable, it looked fine, but it's nothing to shout at. And maybe that is because this is a bit of a smaller park. There aren't as many attractions or anything, so I imagine that their attendance isn't super large compared to some of these other parks with a lot bigger of a budget. And like Trips Drill, I would say that this isn't one that I would spend all day here. The main draw obviously is Expedition G-Force, and they have some solid like filler attractions, but I'm not sure that this is a place that you necessarily would spend all day. Like, there's no water park, and we didn't see any shows going on. They may have had some shows, but none that I was familiar with or any that we saw as we were walking around. In terms of food, I did have a meal here. I went to this burger place next to Expedition G-Force, which is basically McDonald's. Like, it wasn't McDonald's, but the food looked like McDonald's, and it tasted like McDonald's. So that was interesting. I was not expecting that. I was like, ooh, this place looks good. Then I had it, and I'm like, this is literally just McDonald's. But that's kind of it for this Holiday Park review. There's not a whole lot to talk about. We didn't spend a ton of time here. We were mainly here for Expedition G-Force, so most of our time at Holiday Park was spent riding that. I do recommend visiting Holiday Park if you're in Germany just because of Expedition G-Force. Like, if I'm being real, if Expedition G-Force wasn't here, then I would say this isn't really a park that you need to visit, especially if you're from out of country and you're hitting like major German theme parks. If Expedition G-Force wasn't there, I'd say, nah, just skip Holiday Park. Nothing really blew me away about it except for Expedition G-Force. So thank goodness that coaster's here. Because of that, I do recommend visiting Holiday Park. But I can see this as one of those places that if you plan to visit all day there, by the end of the day, you'd be like, okay, I'm kind of done. Like, there's not as much left for me to do. But I don't have any like outright negative things to say about Holiday Park. We didn't have any bad experiences or nothing that was like an eyesore. We just kind of walked away from Holiday Park like Expedition GeForce was awesome, but the park itself is like fine. So because of that, I'd probably put Holiday Park lower on my list of European theme parks we visited, which again, it doesn't mean that Holiday Park is bad. We didn't visit any bad theme parks on our European coaster tour. And so it is kind of tough coming up with a ranking, but I think when you kind of compare it to all of the other parks that we visited, I would put Holiday Park towards the bottom, but I still think it's worth a visit. Spend a few hours here, ride Skyscream, check out some of the other attractions. But that's kind of my take on Holiday Park in southern Germany. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below if you agree with my thoughts. If you think there was anything I missed, you can let me know, and of course stay tuned for more park reviews. Here at Coaster Studios, I've got a lot more coming. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.